Hello, EID 680 students, and welcome to week 2. Tonight, I'm going to be going over your assignments for week 2. As usual, if you have any questions, please email me directly or give me a call at the phone number provided. I'll be happy to go over things with you. Hope everything's going okay. Let's go ahead and jump in here with week 2, module 2. First, you'll see these readings. Again, these readings are tied directly to your week 2 quiz, so be sure to go over them thoroughly. The readings, as usual, these numbers down here apply to the Kindle tablet locations. Otherwise, just go ahead, if you have the Krug book, in the Krug book, read chapters 9 through 13. As you've already found out, they're very, very short chapters. Now, moving on here to our week 2 lecture, it is all about storyboarding and sitemaps. Basically, a storyboard or a sitemap is a way of pre-planning in a very detailed way the website that you're going to create. Storyboards or sitemaps are required whenever you are given the job of designing a website. So you want to pay particular attention to some of the tools used for storyboarding or site mapping and be sure that you're proficient in them. To make sure that you are, or to help ensure that you are proficient in them, let's take a look at assignment 2, the sitemap. This is your primary assignment this week. I need to change my view to that one of a student. Excellent. Okay. So let's jump in here to module 2. Here are the readings. That we've just gone over. Here's that lecture that I was just referring to. And here is your actual assignment. Let's take a look at it. So, first you're given some information on the function of a sitemap. It, more or less, is the actual blueprint for your course. It lays out week by week, module by module, exactly what's going on. Now consider this an outline. As you know, outlines can be either skeleton or they can be highly detailed. At this point, all that is necessary as a bottom line is a skeleton outline. The more you can fill in that skeleton outline at this point, the better. But that all depends upon what past work that you have done on this topic. But keep in mind that anything in the range between a skeleton outline and a highly detailed outline are acceptable. And we're going to be looking at some examples of those kinds of outlines here in just a moment. Now, what tools should you use? You should use whatever tools are comfortable for you. Those include, I'm sure, PowerPoint, Word, Acrobat, Microsoft Publisher. Whatever visual tools that you are most comfortable with, you are more than welcome to use them, because basically you're going to be turning in your sitemap as a PDF. And all of those tools produce a PDF at the end, and that's one of the values of them. Some other tools that you might be interested in that give you a little bit more control, a little bit more detail, are these tools from Lucidchart, SlickPlan, and Glue Maps. If you really want to get into site mapping and all of the different things that you can do with it, you might want to take a look at those tools. But as I said, your typical tools of PowerPoint, Word, and Publisher are just fine. Now typically, sitemaps in this course, let me move this out of the way. Sitemaps in this course need to include the following elements. In other words, you're going to need at least one of these in some week of your course. Let's look at the instructions example explicitly. Your course should contain at least 2 of the following during each week. In other words, 2 of the following must be present in each week. Well, you know one that's always going to be present, right? An assessment. And clearly, a lot of these others are ones that may or may not fit what you're doing in particular. But more or less, you know you're going to have an assessment. You know you're going to have links. That's hypermedia. And you know you're going to have some sort of multimedia. That means images, video, or audio. And depending upon the particular lesson that you're creating, you may or may not have some of these others. Highlight them there for you. What are we talking about here? More specifically, let's take a look at some sitemaps from past students. One is basic composition. As you'll see, this doesn't have to do with writing composition. It has to do with composing a shot using Photoshop. So Dave Adams has a 4-week sitemap. He has outlined the different subjects that are going to be in that sitemap. He's using color coding. That's fine. That's certainly helpful when just trying to read through them. Giving that color distinction helps to distinguish it for the eye. It makes it easier to read, especially if you're showing it to someone. Which you will want to do. You will want to include a page with your sitemap in the website that you're designing. As you can tell, he always ends with some kind of assessment activity, whether they be presentations, group work, self-reflection, and of course the final project that they're going to be submitting. Otherwise, it's a Photoshop course and is detailed sequentially. Let's take a look at another one. Here's Anatomy Recovery course. Take a look at this sitemap. Pretty straightforward. Again, it uses color coding. It includes a line of assessments here at the bottom and varies the different activities throughout the 4 weeks. Each of the modules is given a title, and you can let me explode this a little bit. And you can see each of the modules builds upon the other one. Module 1, Introduction to Anatomy, and then the different anatomical systems are broken down into 2.0, interglutamentarily, muscular, and skeletal. Interglutamentarily. I think I said that wrong. I would say in this case the color coding kind of gets in the way. It creates more of a checkerboard effect rather than being something that is more easily discernible from a single glance. Analytic adaptations, very detailed sitemap, as you'll see. This is kind of the extreme of a detailed sitemap. This is almost the kind of sitemap that you would create after you've already done the project, to be quite frank with you. But it is a possibility, and you may avail yourself of it if it particularly fits your needs. This is kind of a cross in between. Google Sheets for 4th graders. Again, using color coding. We have a kind of sequence or a rhythm set up that includes vocabulary, demonstrations, and practice. Introduction to Google Tools. Pretty straightforward here. Again, color coding is used. Now this one included kind of like the home page as well as the 4 weeks. And that is something that is highly recommended for your website before you put it into action, is to have a home page for your class. and it's a place where you can deliver a lot of information in addition to the 4 weeks of instruction. And telling time for second graders. Here this student used shapes as a way of giving different emphasis to the different levels of activity: squares, rectangles, pentagons, diamonds, spheres, etc. Probably a little more detailed or complicated than it needs to be, but and here's the bottom line, it worked for Kylie, and so whatever worked for Kylie is definitely what she should have done and turned in. If using all those different shapes works for her, then that's exactly what she should have done. And again, it makes it very clear, but it also takes a lot more planning if you're going to do something like that. So there are your 6 models of site maps. Here's the rubric by which they're going to be graded. And that is your primary assignment for this week. Now, going into this week, you should already have a very clear idea of your topic. You have submitted those topics as part of your week 1 assignment. I have graded all of your week 1 submissions. And so you should have your week 1 topic, your peers' feedback on your week 1 topic from the discussion board, and also my feedback. What that means is, taken together, you should have a solid idea of exactly what you're going to develop in your 4-week instructional website. If you do not, please contact me immediately and let's discuss it. If there are any kind of big questions that you need answered, if you're still not sure, if you're not sure how to develop it into 4 weeks, that's something that you and I can work on individually, and I'm happy to do that at a time of your choosing. But you do want to end this week with a very solid site map, and this site map is what you're going to build your course upon. Now, the site map is not something that is set in concrete. Once you have designed the site map in Module 2, Unit 2, Week 2, it's okay to change it going forward. And believe me, I expect it to change, and you should expect it to change as well. Having it evolve, making different versions of it, as you bring in more materials, see how things fit or don't fit, that is completely natural. Please give yourself the latitude to use this as a creation, a kind of thing that is in the work, in progress. Give yourself some room there, and don't feel like that you're creating some tablets from Mount Sinai. They're not set in stone. These things continue to change as we continue to develop them. Okay, so that is my lecture for this week. I will go ahead and end this here, and I will pass it along to you. In order to get credit, please view this video and post to your Module 2 assignment, and you'll see that credit show up. But I do need some evidence that you have watched this video and understand its contents in order to receive your credit for this live chat. Okay, I will end it here, and again, please let me know if you have any questions.